Yeah, we're here at, what fucking regional are we at right now? Indy Regional, and I got my boy Evan here. What's up, Evan?
Hey.
How we doing?
Doing great. How are y'all?
Excellent, excellent. So I just witnessed Evan absolutely disrespecting his opponent round 9, and I had to get this profile. What was your record today, Evan?
My record was 6-3.
6-3. Excellent, excellent. And so Evan's got some spice that he's going to show for us. Apparently this madman and his buddy concocted this and decided to bring it to this regional, and I would love to share it with you guys. So Evan, show us what you got.
So the deck I've been playing today was Chainburn. That's just the name of the deck. I'm sure a lot of you probably heard of it over the years. It's not been super popular recently, but some guy in Philly got like 4th on accident with it, and my buddy saw it. He was like, we got to try this. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with the monsters.
Oh, even more so. Sorry to interrupt, but
this
motherfucker was playing with no mat either.
Just the extra, At the very start of the day, he was joking. He was like, we shouldn't play with any mats. And I'm like, you know what? What if we
good idea.
What if we actually don't play with mats? And I'm like, 4 people were like, do you need a mat or something? I'm like, I'm good. These cards ain't worth a mat. Trust me. All right. We're going to start with the monsters. First...
Will you turn them upside down?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
We got 3 Muhammad the Fairy Dragon. So this card won me several different games. So this card has an effect. Whenever your opponent takes battle damage during their turn, you special this card from your hand, and you can either gain the life points that they took, or you can burn them for that same amount of life points. So it activates in the damage step, so unless they have something that can negate activation, they can't touch this card.
Okay.
So if they wind up getting a bunch of big monsters on the field, and you get them down to really low with your other trap cards, this card just catches them completely super off guard. It won me, I can't tell you how many games today. Yeah, and it's also not a once per turn.
Oh my gosh.
So like Apple can negate it. Apple's a big problem with it, but if they have like a 2-mat Apple and you have one of these in hand, you can just keep doing it over and over and over. It doesn't change. Next, we have 3 Lava Golems. So Lava Golems, pretty big indication. We like to go second. Reason behind going second, we want them to build a board first. That's usually the goal, because the more they build a board, the better it's going to be for us, because a lot of our cards focus on how many cards they control, how many monsters they control. So Lava Golem takes out anything that's big targets like Desiree, Varudris, anything that's really big Omni Negates, Crimson Dragon, stuff that can really start popping our field and destroying our stuff. This card is really good, plus it's also just accidentally a burn card. So this card was unbelievable today, popped up several times when we had Omni Negates or really big cards that we couldn't do anything with, untargetable, whatever. This card just outs them by itself.
That's nice.
Next we have
3 Moonlight.
3 Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. We only play it for the burn purposes. The effect negation does not matter at all. Most of the time, like if we're going against Fiendsmith Snake Eye, the goal is to be hit Flamberge, because Flamberge is 3k, and they're obviously going to send that to the graveyard. So this is the effect negation does not matter. It only came up once today when I was playing Marincess. I tried to keep him off of Battle Ocean because that card with Aqua Argonaut just destroys us. But
nice. Most
of the time, it's just for effect negation. We try to find monsters with the highest attack that we know are going to go to the graveyard, and go from there. Next, we have 2 Multi-Army Perulia. I drew this card like 5 times today, and I only got to draw 1 card off of it, so it didn't really do me that good. I think my buddy and I, we were talking about replacing this with Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Okay. So we think that's going to do better. It'd be able to hit like Desiree, Varudris, cards that are going to cause us problems. Cards. Yeah. So this didn't do me very well. It's more of a personal thing. We talked about it, but I think we're going to switch it up. Next, we're going to switch into the traps. 3 Skill Drain.
My favorite trap card.
So the reason behind this is not a burn card, and neither was Perulia. Perulia will draw you into a burn card, but this isn't. But Tenpai is the worst matchup for us. Tenpai absolutely just destroys this deck because they don't put up enough on the board, and they don't put up monsters that we can do anything with. Sing and Summoning stops us. Transcendent Dragion stops us because we can't do anything in the battle phase. So this by itself just kind of cleared Tenpai. Came up a couple times. I played Tenpai once today, and it came up in my game 1, and it smoked him. He couldn't do anything about it. So this was mostly for Tenpai, but it came up with other games too. Next, we're getting some of the burn cards. Secret Blast. This card, up to the however many, I think it's card. Yeah, it's cards your opponent controls. You burn your opponent for 300. So that's spells, traps, anything.
And if it's destroyed, it inflicts 1,000.
Yeah, if it's destroyed by card effect, it'll inflict 1,000 to your opponent in the graveyard. That actually won me a game. Someone got down to like 1,600 life. I chained this and something else, and then the last 1,000 killed them in the graveyard. So this is just mandatory. This is a burn card. And again, reason we want to go second, because they put up bigger boards, and the bigger boards they put up, the better the deck, the better we do. If the deck sucks, we don't really get anywhere. So this is just mandatory because it's a burn card. Next, we got 3 Gravediggers Trap Hole, also really, really good. This card, just being a negate, is really good too. So the negate can be used on this a lot in
Snake Eye, everything.
Snake Eye, Yubel, many of the top meta decks right now, even Tenpai with Chundra in hand as special, it just wipes that out, and it shuts 10 pi off when we do that. So that's really good for that.
2,000 burn doesn't hurt either.
2,000 burn is the main reason we play it. The effect negation is great, but the 2,000 burn damage is unbelievable. Not a once per turn. You can do it if you have all 3 and they do 3 effects in hand, graveyard or banished. There's 6k gone off their life. So again, we thought about cutting it to 2, but I'm like, with the meta how it is, mandatory to go to 3. Next, we've got Ceasefire. Another just burn card. For every effect monster that's on the field, so that is your field and their field, you burn them for 500.
Nice.
Again, bigger the combo, the better the do. So if we have like Muhammad the Fairy Dragon on the field, or if we want to just set a card for whatever reason, like if we have them down really low in life and we want to set a card, this card will flip it up. So it flips up anything that's set face down, flip it up, and it burns for every effect monster on the field.
Right on.
So you can get an extra 500 damage if you want to set a card. But again, mandatory burn card. Next up, we've got Trap Trick. Trap Trick, really good if you need any trap in here, any of the burn traps. Just copy this effect and you go nuts. So
Did
it can
you
be
resolve this a lot today? Do you feel like this came in clutch for getting the last card?
It definitely used it a lot because it's going to obviously be the last thing you activate, because when you activate it, you can only activate one more trap. But it did come up quite a few times today. There was a time that I went into Trap Trick, into like Secret Blast, Secret Barrel, or whatever, and it just won me the game on the spot. So again, mandatory 3-up because it just searches you another burn card. Next up, we've got Just Desserts.
Classic.
Kind of the same thing as Ceasefire. This card's super old. So is Ceasefire, but this one's been around for years and years and years.
Since the beginning.
It's been in everything since the beginning. This card's been around for a long, long time. Burns for every monster they control, effect monster or not. Classic burn card. Better they do, more damage it does. Not a once per turn. This card's unbelievable. Next up, we've got probably my favorite card in the deck. I really like this one. We've got Secret Barrel. Secret Barrel burns them for 200 for every card in their hand and every card they control. So if they have a really big combo and they just drew like 14 cards, this card goes crazy. Also not a once per turn. Again, mandatory burn card. You need to have stuff like this that's going to be able to chain the burn cards together. That's kind of the point of the deck. You try to chain all of them together to try to get it, and you have to start calculating a little bit in your head to try to figure out, oh, was this going to kill them? Because you don't want to waste all your traps and not get them down low enough. I got someone down to 400 life and wasn't able to capitalize. So it happens. But again, mandatory, really fun card. Next up, another really good one, really old card, Ring of Destruction. Ring of Destruction, even with the errata, is still really good. You have to target a monster with that's equal to their life points, the attack that's equal to or less than. Right. So if you get them down too low with other cards, you can't do anything with it. But if you start chaining them all together and you start, if they have like an M-Steady, a Flamberge, or anything on the board, and you go chain 1, Ring of Destruction, chain all the way down to chain 5, by the time all these resolve, they're going to be down to 500 life. And at the time of activation, that monster was higher than what their life points was. So
spicy.
Still really good. I did Trap Trick on it a couple times today. There was a game I played against Trickstar. I managed to draw all 3 of these, got my opponent down to 2k life, mine as well, but with other burn cards, it just absolutely killed him. Oh, yeah, so Ghost Mourner is really, really good with this, because if they summon, let's say they summon Flamberge, and you go, okay, on the summon, you go chain 1 Ring of Destruction, chain 2 Ghost Mourner. You go Ghost Mourner is going to negate it 6,000 for him, because it'll pop it, and then in the graveyard we'll go for that. So
fucking dirt.
I did that once today I did that once today with Mourner and this. It only hit him for like 4k, but that's still half the life.
With a lot of stuff.
It's crazy. Nobody knew how to play against it. Nobody was expecting it.
What you got?
Next up, we've got 2 Dimension Wall. This card is only ever been printed as a rare and as a common. Hasn't had a printing in like 13 years. This card's like $10.
You can only activate this card when your opponent declares an attack with the monster. Instead of you, your opponent takes the battle damage you would have taken.
So it's just Magic Cylinder, but way better. Magic Cylinder has to target, so you can't do anything that's untargetable. It's not going to work. Anything that's unaffected, also not going to work. This is just better. This just says you eat it. Well, you don't eat it. They attack you, and they eat it instead.
Right.
So I know, I was going to get there. So the other card I talked about, Muhammad the Fairy Dragon, since this, when you activate it and they take the damage, it doesn't classify as effect damage, it classifies as battle damage. So if they attack you with Flamberge, let's just say they have it on field, and you flip this and you go, oh, you take 3k, you can go Muhammad, because they took battle damage, and burn them for another 3k.
Oh my god.
So Mourner and Ring of Destruction, this and Muhammad the Fairy Dragon, both of those together is
abusing their Flamberge into oblivion. That's hilarious.
Flamberge is just an example, but it's just anything in general. But this one, as expensive as it was, probably the most expensive card in this deck, came up really, really clutch today. And you have to play, if you only play 2 copies of a trap, You generally want to do it at least 2, because if you do only 1, you can't search it with Trap Trick because you have to banish 1 for Trap Trick and then set it. But at 3, you don't really want to have that because it's going to kind of brick you up a little bit because you have to wait to the battle phase.
Bricked up.
You have to wait. You have to wait till the battle phase, and that doesn't usually happen a lot, or it's going to get popped before then. So 2 is probably the limit.
But
we've only got 4 cards left. These are the only spells we're playing. 1 Chain Strike, because that's the legal amount we're allowed to play.
Rightfully so.
Chain Strike.
I don't know if there's any explanation needed with this one. I think
There's just not. There's just not. It's just I only drew it one time today, but it won me the game when I did.
Naturally.
But if this card was at 2, it'd be crazy. If it was at 3, funny enough, you don't want to play it at 3. I've tried to play it at 3 on Master Duel. It didn't work. At 2, it's really good, but even at 1, it's just like we play 41 cards. This is the 41st card. You have to. Like the whole point of this deck probably derived from this card.
Right.
And the last 3 cards.
Hey, drawing 2 cards, pretty good.
Pot of Extravagance. This, I tried to resolve it a few times today. It's an Ash Magnet most of the time. But when it does resolve, it just draws you 2 more burn cards.
Puts you in a very good position.
And puts you in a really, really good position.
I know the extra deck's probably just the 15 draw cards then, so no need to go into that too deep.
The ED, it literally just choose your 15 most favorite cards and just do it. The only thing that we have that actually makes a difference that I'm never going to summon, but it's just a burn card.
Volcasaurus for 2 level 5s.
Volcasaurus is the 2 level 5s. If you can somehow manage to get a Muhammad the Fairy Dragon and another Muhammad the Fairy Dragon on the field, you can hypothetically summon this card. Is it going to happen?
Rather
Probably
have it not need it than need it not have it.
Exactly, but everything else, you don't even have to play that. It just doesn't matter. Just choose. I just grabbed 15 different random cards and said, here it is. It's only for extract targets. That's the only point of it.
Yeah, we'll do the side deck real quick.
Absolutely. The amount of times today when I go extrav and I just pick it up and go, that many. And I don't even care how many it is because I don't need it. Getting to the side deck, we're going to start with 2 Booba Games. Booba Game is an interesting card. No, sorry about that. Booba Game is really interesting. It stops an attack, but that's not the main purpose of playing it. It can be if you're really needing to wave an attack and then get to a draw to burn them. But if this card gets destroyed by card effect, you can then set 2 normal traps from the graveyard and they can be activated the same turn. So if you activated the Secret Barrel and then this got destroyed, you can reset that and then activate it again.
Right on.
This didn't come up for me today at all, but it's really almost mandatory post side because a lot of people are going to see, oh, you just set 5. Or you set 3, you set 4. Like, they're going to probably playing back row removal. 10 Pi plays a lot of back row removal. They're playing a lot of board breakers. So, in theory, it could be really good, but it's probably not good at 3 of. A 2 of is pretty good. I'm probably going to still keep it because it's a good theoretical card. But other than that, it didn't really come up much today. Next up, we've got Lord of the Heavenly Prison.
Oh, yeah.
This I was maining for a while. When you activate it, you reveal the effect in hand, and then it protects all of your back row that's set from being destroyed. And that also goes for your opponent. Any card that on the field that's set cannot be destroyed by card effect. So, obviously, if you're going set 5 pass, and they open Harpy's Feather Duster, you want something to stop that. Is it main deck worthy? Not really, because most of the time, a lot of people want to go first. They're going to go full combo, set up these really big boards.
To be dead going second.
You don't really need this card. You want to go second anyways, but you don't really need this card going first because they're not playing the board breakers besides 10 Pi. Most other decks are going to side in the board breakers before they do anything else. And this card came up unbelievable today. This card has been super, super clutch. So this is highly recommended, mostly in the side. You can try it in the main, but I'd recommend it in the side. Next up, a card that I never even sided in once today. It's good. Another good in theory card, kind of like Lava Golem. Doesn't do burn damage, but if we went up against like a rogue matchup that put up...
It breaks boards.
Yeah,
It does the same thing it's been doing for years.
We thought we would use it a lot more if we went up against a rogue matchup, and I went up against a lot of rogue today, but none of them put up like really big boards or anything. So this is going to get cut for something. I don't know what yet. I gotta break it down with my buddy and see what we're going to change it out with, but I never even sided it in. In theory, it was good, but it didn't come up at all today. And another meta, maybe, but just not this one. Next up, this one was one I was debating on. Imperial Iron Wall, been around for a long, long time. Neither player can banish cards. This is specifically for evenly matched. I never got evenly matched once today, but evenly matched destroys this deck. If you set 5 and you have Lord of Heavenly Prison, they go anyways evenly, you lose anyways. This was the only card that prevented it. This came up a couple of times when I was playing against Centurion.
Ojama Duo and Ojama Trio are something you should think about.
What do they do?
They summon tokens to your opponent's side of the field, 2 and 3 tokens respectively, and then they burn if they ever leave the field, so you can give that to your opponent in the draw phase so they can't even leave because they control face-up cards. You played it with Kaioshin. But then you can also lock your opponent out if you have the 3 and the 2 because you can give them 5 tokens so they can't summon anything.
I think this man might be cooking. I
got
think he's
you.
cooking.
Show me the last card so we finish off the profile and I'll give you some spice.
Yes, sir. That'd be great. So we're going into the last few cards. Again, this card was good for evenly, but that didn't come up today. But it helped me against Centurion. I played Centurion a couple times today, and they do a lot of banishing. Really good for that. But if evenly is like really prevalent, this card's mandatory, at least for me. Next up, anti-10-pie hate. Anti-10-pie card. The only reason we are playing this card.
Summon. Send this card to the graveyard during your third activation. Yes.
The only reason we're playing this card is for 10-pie. 10-pie is our worst matchup.
Fair enough.
And
Makes
this
sense.
card, just if you pop it, what are they going to do? If they can't spheres bounce it, or they can't destroy
dimensional barrier for 3 turns in a row.
Pretty much. That's why it's better than D-Berry. It was better than anything else we could have done. This is just the best card for 10-pie. Came up. I only played 10-pie once today, and I 2-0'd him because I opened Skill Drain and then I opened this card, and he just lost it.
And the Magic 15th card.
Last card, Tikaboo, also for 10-pie. They can't control more than one Fire Dragon monster.
Evan, congratulations, bro, on going 6-3. We'll see what your record ends up being.
You.
Do you have any shout-outs that you'd like to give for the deck?
I don't know what the guy's name was from YCS Philly, but whatever that guy's name was, if you can ever find him, if you just search YCS, maybe I'm going to YCS, like a Philly Regional, just search Chainburn Philly Regional, think it was this year, maybe last year, find that guy. That guy was the whole inspiration for my buddy Tyler, who was like, hey, we should play this. But we were at Nats, and he was like, we should play a tag duel with this. And I'm like, sure, all right. And that's where we are.
Good shit, man. Well, congratulations. I appreciate the profile.